All right, well, this is going to be attempt number 2 on recording this video. First time the audio didn't fucking record from the video. God damn it! Like, yo, it was a really good video. I was doing well. But I got Joe Rogan and Brian Moses standing here talking about reparations. And it's a shit show. Legit. Like, because Joe Rogan's such a dumb monkey that he legit just doesn't know anything. Like, yo, it's so terrible. And he's such a simp that, like, he has no clue about anything going on. He has no real knowledge. How do you fucking podcast on, YouTube and be this close to us and have no clue what's going on? I just fucking don't get it at all. Well, let's get into this. Let's have a conversation and let's see what it is, that they're talking about. And, I'm going to react as we go through and correct their bullshit.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Man, I was just in Italy. Like when you see like these little small family businesses, small family restaurants, like people that work there, like the father's the owner and the daughter's the manager.
Yeah.
The mom works in the kitchen. It's like, wow, this is crazy.
They still do
Family
that.
businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was always a thing, right? You remember like family businesses on the East Coast. Now it's like so rare that people...
Okay, first off, all right, like, you're legit. I don't know about y'all, but where I come from, every business is like this. Like there is very, very few like restaurants and places. I mean, like, you have like places in like strip malls, and nobody gives a fuck about a strip mall. Like, nobody goes there unless like you're some white yuppie. Like, it's legit. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you. I'll bet you in the past 10 years I've been to a strip mall 5 times. Right. And legit, the only reason I had to go there was because like I was going probably to like a sporting goods store that I needed, like, like a baseball glove or something along these type of lines. But like, yeah, you never go to like these big, like what they know, like, you ever seen an outdoor mall they have, I guess, now, like I remember I saw them in Virginia the first time where, like, and this was probably about 8 years ago. Like, they have like these big malls where like outdoors they'll have a whole bunch of restaurants in the parking lots, and then like they'll have like a row of like big box stores like Dick's and your local grocery stores. I don't know whoever y'all have. We have Giants and Wise Markets. Y'all got like Kroger's and Piggly Wigglies or whatever the case might be. Maybe a Mazers out in the Midwest, right? And like, but like no one goes there to eat unless you're an asshole. Legit. Nah, man, like, you go to your local pizza shop or you go to like, local diner or local restaurant. Like, that's how it works here. I don't know about where y'all live at. Like, all these places are family owned. Like, all these little stores are family owned, like all the, and even like, if you go to like, say, an Ace True Value hardware store, it's a franchise, right? Like, it's owned locally by a dude, Like, he knows everything there is to know about, whatever nonsense that he's into, whether it be, building or, outdoor stuff or whatever the case might be, and like, they're really good at that type of shit. So I'm not real sure what the fuck Joe Rogan's talking about here. Legit. Like, let's keep banging though.
They wear it like a badge of honor. Look, it's a family business. Like,
Right.
all businesses used to be family businesses.
No, yeah, everything went corporate though.
Yeah, man. There's certain places where that's not the case, though. Like, you got to really appreciate. There's one of the things you appreciate about going to Italy. Mm-hmm. There's just like a bunch of little places. I mean, they have nice stores, like if you're in like Gucci shit and.
Well, you also got to remember, like, Italy legit. They stand here. They say "fuck the tax man," right? Like that's it's a point of national pride to sit here and try to fuck the tax man as much as possible, right? Like, and it used to be like this here in the United States. Legit. Like, here in the U.S., we used to do the same thing. We used to say, like, yo, fuck the government, Like, yo, that money should be in your pocket and your family. It should be feeding y'all, But for some reason, we turned into these corporate, worthless, federalist, statist pieces of shit, who thinks that law and order is a real fucking show, and that's actually how court works. Believe me, I've been to court. That's not how it works. 99% of cases are plea bargained. Because, they try to scare the shit out you, or they'll drag that shit out for 3 years to the point where that motherfucker legit is just ready to fucking pop. And he has nothing left in him. He just can't hold on anymore. And they're only supposed to be able to have a year, right? But like they'll just keep charging the time against you because the judge just doesn't care. Like he doesn't care about the rules. They don't care. They just want to win. The prosecutor just wants to win, right? But yeah, anyway, you're supposed to say fuck the tax man, and that's why all those Italian businesses are able to survive, and you can't do it in places like California, New York City anymore, because of the fact that legit you've raised taxes and raised the cost of living to the point where you can't have a business unless it's a loss leader. Legit, every business in California, that sells, a small amount of goods, or, there's like a local, like a little 7-Eleven or whatever the case might be. They're all loss leaders. They're corporate owned, right? But they're not making any fucking money for that corporation because the amount of money it costs for the land and all the other shit, or they paid a fuck ton of money up front and it took them 10 or 15 years to get the money back. It's just impossible for a family business to be able to, have that type of money to put into an operation. That's just is what it is. That's what happens. So, when you live in, the nicest place in the entire fucking world to live, might want to, oh yeah, that's right. You live in Texas, don't you? Yeah, it's a pretty terrible place too, if I'm honest with you. Let's keep going.
And stuff like that. They have nice stores, but the restaurants and all the places where you buy things, they're like people's shops.
Right, they're not boutiques. They're just I go to Craig's or I go to
it's
Tiffany's.
Not Target or Walgreens or Sears. It's not. There's no corporate to it. It's just families. It's weird.
That keeps the money in the household too. You know what I mean? It makes it real familial. It actually works out.
But
that makes sense, and that's also why I say I'm not real big into the reparations talk for Black people. I mean, I don't really know the ins and outs of it. People keep saying we need it.
Get ready for Twitter hate.
I'm saying this. I'm saying how about we incentivize parenting?
Good. But can you do that?
Let's keep if.
Well, it's not that difficult to do so, Joe. Let me break some stuff down to you real quick, right? Because this is pretty easy to understand. All right, so check this out. Here's the deal. You can incentivize good parenting by doing some very basic things, like getting rid of child support, giving welfare to fathers instead of mothers, standing here and getting rid of laws that stop or getting rid of rules inside of the housing codes, that stop fathers from living inside of Section 8 in public housing. How about you continue to give money to families even though the father finds a job, right? Treat families as families, and you give them one lump sum and you put it in the father's name rather than the mother's, right? And you do these type of things, and you can incentivize individuals to be parents, right, together, so that way you don't have the mother have a golden parachute to be able to get up out of there. That's a really easy thing you can do. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Let's keep going.
If you're watching your kids instead of they're just out there, because let's say, is reparations talk about, I don't know, infrastructure in Black communities? And if that's the case, well then let's incentivize keeping the parents there, keeping the parents together. Or if they're split up, it's just if you guys are teaching your kid and he's in school every day, or he survives 8 years without a school shooting, every family gets a big bonus.
Well, let me put it like this, right? So, me and my girl was actually talking about this today, and we were talking about back in the day we had those Scholastic Reading Awards, right? And I loved pizza, right? And I love Pizza Hut. I love the salad bar. It's my favorite thing in the world of Pizza Hut. I don't know if anybody remembers the salad bar at Pizza Hut. It was the shit, just like a salad bar at Wendy's, right? I don't know if anybody remembers the salad bar at Wendy's. That was the fucking greatest thing ever in the history of mankind. My girl's over here grinning, hand cubes and shit with the eggs and all that, y'all. The Catalina, the dressing, y'all, was so good back in the day. Anyway, right? But we literally paid people to read. That's what you're supposed to do. You go to school every day, right? And I used to tell my teachers all the fucking time, I said, why aren't you paying me to be here? Right? When Trump said that shit on the debate stage, he said, why aren't you paying me for this? Right? He said, you should be paying me to be here. Right? And everybody went, what? Huh? Why don't you want to do it for free? Right? Because Americans are retarded, right? But legit, I went to school and I was 10 years old and I said, why aren't you paying me to be here? Right? I have better things I can do with my time than be here. Legit. Why am I not being fucking paid for this? Like, you wouldn't expect the teachers to show up here every day or they might because they like hanging out and they're females, right? But like, yo, I would never show up to a place where I had to deal with retards every day who I wouldn't talk to unless my head was on fire and they held the monopoly on water, and even then it would be iffy, right? For free. Why would I do that? Right? Like, yo, why aren't we paying people, you know what I'm saying? Why are we paying people to, like, do a good job? Legit. We think about this in, like, every other, like, we're a capitalist nation, but, like, we stand here and we believe in communism when it comes to school, right? So much so that, like, yo, we think individuals should play football in college for free, right? You know what I'm saying? They go, oh, but they get an education. What? You fuck off. Real, like, yo, fucking eat a dick. Real shit, you should be paying me. If I'm going to be breaking my bones and be thrown out of fucking school, you know what I'm saying? You should be paying me. Like, yo, the hell is wrong with y'all? Like, this is a very simple thing. And I mean, you go, oh, well, we don't have the money for that. Well, then maybe we shouldn't be doing it. Like, kids aren't slaves either. Like, yo, like, we try to pretend that they're slaves, right? But they're not. Like, yo, they're children. And legit, I don't even want my kids going to school because I don't like the ideology of you're not compensating me for missing my kids all day long and having to fucking stand here and put them around you fucking idiots. Legit. But let's keep going.
You know, or if he makes the honor roll, you know, like you guys get this. It's like you'd really be investing in your investments. Like they say it takes 18 years to make back on your investment of your child. If you're incentivizing him to go to school for education, it's going to make better people in a better society.
That seems good on paper. No, if you're saying incentivize, like how would you incentivize them?
Right, I'm saying like
it's always good. It's always good to encourage people to be successful.
Okay. So your kid tests well on some of these like aptitude tests, right?
Right.
Then you get a stipend or something like that. I mean, it's like what are these reparations we're talking about exactly?
I got a really good idea. Like, let's say you give your kid an aptitude test in school, right? And he does well at certain things and he sucks at other. How about like you don't make him do the things he sucks at? Like, yo, like, you know, if we stood here and made elephants climb trees, you know what I'm saying? Like, elephants would have shitty lives, right? Like, yo, legit, it's not what they're good at. They can knock that tree the fuck over, but they ain't climbing that bitch, right? Like, yo, but that's legit. That's what you're fucking doing with kids is you're like, oh, man, you're bad at math? Here, let's put you in math classes every day. Like, yo, you're going to make a kid's lives fucking miserable for 18 fucking years. It's dumb. It's fucking stupid. Right? Like, I understand, like, you should learn basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you know what I mean? Like, you know, basic percentages. Like, yo, but other than that, like, yo, you ain't going to use any of the rest of that shit the rest of your fucking life. You know what I mean? When you get to college, if, like, yo, you go, oh, man, well, I decided that I'm going to try some math stuff, then you can go try some math stuff. If not, you get your fucking ass the fuck going and do what you got to do. Like, having this idea of, like, a well-rounded education for fucking children is fucking dumb. Let's keep going, though.
Exactly. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but if it's about infrastructure of black communities, I'm so into it. But it's also let's incentivize being in the child's life, because for a lot of the reasons these kids are like they're depressed and they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder because nobody's home watching them, and they go to these gangs or they go to these other things, right? It's because they're just not being watched.
Right, but I think.
Well, let's talk about the reasons why kids feel as though, you know what I'm saying, they're going to gangs and things. Well, why kids go to gangs and shit, right? Let's talk about that. Because, you know, like, that's an important fucking conversation to be had right there. Why do kids go to gangs? Well, it's because kids are supposed to be raised around their brothers and sisters and cousins and in a community, right? And learn how to be men and learn how to be honorable and have other individuals that they can look up to and rub up against, you know what I mean, to become better men. Right? That's why boys join gangs, right? And I ain't worried about girls. Like, yo, girls join gangs to get fucked. Like, yo, girls also join cheerleading to get fucked. Like, that's what females do. All right? They're looking for social situations so they can get laid. Like, that's what females do. Right? But males, on the other hand, you don't join a gang to get fucked. You join a gang, you know what I'm saying, because you need that social standard to be able to have other individuals to rub up against so you can become a better man. Right? And you're supposed to have a father there, right? And other brothers and fucking cousins and whatever the case might be, other family members around you to be able to help you out to get you to that point, right? You're supposed to have a grandfather around and shit of this nature, uncles and, you know, aunts and whatever, but you don't have that anymore. You have a very disconnected family life inside of this country because our country is fucking garbage, right? So it is what it is. So that's kind of where the mentality really gets down to with this shit. You know, and what we really need to do is have fathers around. So I mean, but like, hey, by all means, let's keep going in the manner in which we're going and thinking that, you know, we fucking like kids living with single motherhood is not the single largest portion of this fucking problem as a whole.
The idea behind reparations is that some people at one point in time were profiting off of slavery. Those people have used that money, and that money has become a part of really large businesses, many, many large businesses.
Oh, we talking about taking from businesses?
Well, that's where reparations would have to come from in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. General Electric. Fucking yeah. Give me $1,500.
That's one.
Okay, look. Let's not be retarded. Okay, it's important that we're not retarded. Okay, because General Electric didn't start until like the 1890s or 1900s and shit, long after slavery started. General Electric was not part of slavery in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't think Thomas Edison legit was around during fucking slavery, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, let's just put that out there and keep it all the way 100. You know what I'm saying? I think it was the 1900s World's Fair that Nikola Tesla lit up, right? And that was pre-General Electric. Just keeping it all the way funky. Like, yo, like let's keep that all the way honest here, all right? Because before that it was just Edison Electric, and it only was in New York. It was not in the South at all. So, like, yo, it did not. None of that benefited off of fucking slavery. Maybe J.P. Morgan did. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good possibility. But I don't really know the backing of the background. Not J.P. Morgan, but his dad, right? His dad fucking, you know what I mean, James Morgan, you know what I mean, may have stood here and, you know what I mean, fucking had, you know what I mean, like shit he made off of that, you know what I mean, when he was young, right? But like, anyway, let's keep going.
One that I think directly should be, like, you have to wonder, like, if you made, like, what if you used to sell babies, right? You had a baby selling business. You sold babies, right? And then your grandson inherited all your money from selling babies.
Okay.
But the grandson's cool. I mean, he just, he goes golfing and he's not a criminal.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. But is it fine? Because didn't his money come from baby selling?
Right.
Where's it? Wait a minute. Let's trace this money. Like, it started out, it was this much money, and then your dad got that, and then his dad got that, and then, like, how many generations?
Okay. So you're saying that families who are known plantation owners should have to pay that money back to the black community?
Where did it go? Where'd the money go? What was it used for?
No, you're right. But
I mean,
I'm saying,
it's only 100 years ago. It's 1865.
Okay.
It's not that long ago. That's so...
Okay, let's talk about what a plantation is, all right? Because it's important to understand, like, what a plantation is. Because the plantation is a farm, all right? That's what you're talking about, a farm, okay? And let's be real here. Most farms operate at a loss a lot of years, okay? Like, yo, they barely break even. Like, yo, it's a lot of it, and especially back then, was just subsistence living. Like, yo, they were not majorly profitable organizations. Now, there was some, like, for instance, there's Wall Street banks, right, that came from fucking plantations, right? Like the Lehman Brothers, you know what I mean, corporation, which is now defunct, right? Which will tell you, like, legit, a lot of these companies, you know what I mean, like, yeah, like there was money in it, but like it was seed money, and it was a little bit, right? It might have been a couple of $1 million, and like, you know, these, you know what I mean, might be multi-billion-dollar companies now, right? And I understand as you go, oh well, the seed money and blah blah blah, interest and all these type of things, but real shit, you're gonna take it from fucking shareholders. Right, you're gonna take it from like individuals who just have 401ks, who, you know, most of them fucking parents were immigrants over the past 100 years, because like everybody from 1850 on who came to this country, you know what I'm saying, had absolutely nothing to do with fucking slavery, including me and Joe Rogan's family, and you know what I mean, like most Irish people, and like, yo, like, unless like you're fucking English in this country, legit, you probably did not profit off of fucking slavery or Jewish. Like, just want to put that out there. You know what I mean? For all the individuals out there, like, what about the JQ? Like, yo, yeah, I got y'all, man. I got y'all. You know what I mean? Like, yo, let's keep going now.
Recent.
And we're just giving it to anybody that's on the census that says they're black, right? To what, like an 8%? If I'm 8% black, I'm going to get how much of this, the Jones plantation, fortune.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what the smart thing to do would be to figure out what damage was, like if they really objectively looked at what damage was done to communities where slavery existed for, how many hundreds of years in this country before it was
400 years.
Hundreds of years, right? And then it ends.
Mm-hmm.
And then these people live in.
I mean, technically, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be really technical about it, like our government didn't form until the 1790s, and slavery was outlawed in 1861 or 2. So, like, maybe like 60 years, 70 years, top end in this country. Before that, it was something we inherited from Britain and Spain. So, like, don't get anything misunderstood about what this motherfucker's saying. Like, he's twisting a whole lot of facts here to seem like he's cool with black people, which is not all right. It's not all right at all. Like, you need to tell the truth, okay? Legit. Like, like there are places where, like, there's traps in this bitch, but like it's not intentionally set. It's just motherfuckers. That's who the hell gets caught the most. If you lay, fucking a glue trap in the barn, you're probably going to catch, mice, because that's where mice are. Like, it just is what it is. But let's keep going.
In these cities, and they're discriminated against, and they're locked up.
Yeah.
They would sort of. One thing that I learned about, who was telling us about this, that they would disproportionately arrest black men for
the
all
Reconstruction
sorts of different crimes
era
to get
is
them.
The worst era for black people in America. It's not so much slavery as it is the Reconstruction era, because then people are just mad that black people are here.
Yeah, well, they were also arresting them for like small crimes and making them work in prison.
Right.
Well, here's the thing, right? So, slavery fucked poor whites in the South, right? Because you had to compete with slave labor. That's an important thing to understand, okay? So, with that being said, it's hard to build an economy, especially in an agricultural society. Now, with that being said, you have to also add into the fact that all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of freed slaves, competing for wages as well. So it's going to be hard to get individuals to get along, right, at that point, because you're literally competing for wages. And that's kind of where the problem was. It's just there wasn't any work. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, where a lot of white individuals, acted like a fucking fools. But it happens everywhere, just like it's happening in South Africa right now. South Africa's, they have an economic downturn, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck the whites, let's go rape and kill all the farmers, and that's just is what it is. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where shit goes to. That's every society in the world gets that way. It's not just white people do it. Everybody fucking does it. It's just a fact of fucking life. When you make life hard for people, they're going to band together. The cultural peoples are going to band together, and they're going to stand here and fight against other cultures to try and make sure that, their culture wins out. Just a fact of life. It happens.
Kidnapping people, making them indentured servants.
And it's just another form of slavery. It's like through this weird loophole. Like, we can make you a slave again.
Yeah.
We just arrest you for hanging out in the street. Yeah. And then we put you in this.
It's not a loophole. 13th Amendment is garbage. All right? It's the amendment that ended slavery. It also allowed for it as long as you're convicted of a crime. Right? It said no man shall be a slave except if that the fucking court deems him so. Complete and utter horse shit. It should just be no man should be a slave. Period. End of the sentence. That should be the end of the amendment. Slavery is hereby outlawed. Simple. But they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they said, we could still use you as a slave in a work camp. We don't have to fucking pay you for your fucking time. Which is complete and utter bullshit.
This factory, and you have to do this for us. And you make nothing. It's basically the same thing as slavery. Yeah. When you find out what they make in prisons, when you go, wait a minute, they work for like 13 cents a day or whatever the fuck they get.
Right.
Like, what?
They're figuring out how to, they're modernizing slavery.
Yeah, because somehow or another that's okay because we got them locked in a box. Like, they're supposed to be punished, right? They're supposed to be rehabilitated and taken off the street, but we're going to make them work for no money.
I know. The white man's so smart. Why don't we, like, black guys, we got to start making white guys work for us. Why don't we do the same thing? We're just as smart.
Well, all the areas.
Well, understand something, all right? Like, this is not like some, you know what I mean, pie in the sky ideology, right? Like, this is, you know what I mean, this is something that, like, anybody would come up with if, like, you know, you have half a fucking brain. Like, all right, let's say, like, you worked your dick off, but you still dealt with poor people on a regular basis who lived on welfare, right? And, like, you know, let's say, for instance, your wife had friends who were on welfare and, you know what I mean, food stamps, and you worked your dick off and you paid a shit ton in taxes. At some point, you would have the thought of going, like, yo, I'm literally paying for these individuals to live. Why aren't they doing my dishes? At some point, you would have that conversation inside of your brain because, like, oh, you feel some sort of type of way about the government robbing you. You know, I mean, it's just a fact of life. So, like, when somebody breaks the law and you're not breaking the law and you go, well, like, there's shit that needs done. You go, well, why don't we use these assholes to fucking do it? You know, they can serve they can, you know, make up their time in their community by picking up trash or whatever the case might be. And it's not a far stretch. They just keep walking that motherfucking line out. That's just how this works. Understand, none of this is some massive conspiracy. You know, it's not like, oh, they're out here and the interdimensional space demons are trying to make individuals work inside of prisons for free. All right, you know, they want the free labor to be able to, you know, try to like take the baby's blood and turn it into goat semen and shit. You know, that's how it works. Like, no, that's not the fucking fact at all. Right? It's just a line that just keeps getting walked and expanded because people are okay with it. You know what I mean? Because, well, let's be honest here. You know what I mean? Most people look at, you know what I mean, like fucking criminals as the scum of the earth. You know what I mean? In reality, like, it's a lot of fucking people who are in very desperate situations. You know, that's really where the vast majority of crime comes from. But let's keep going.
Is that were affected by that in the 50s and the 60s. There's a residual effect that has never been addressed. Like, the government has never said, we've got to figure out how to make these spots better because the reason why they're so fucked up is because slavery was there. And then the subsequent, you know, the race riots of the 60s and this quest.
Joe Rogan's a fucking idiot. I just want to say that right now. Like, do you know how many race riots there were in cities that didn't have any fucking slavery? Legit. Like, yo, there was vast amounts of race riots all over the country that didn't have any goddamn fucking, like, Chicago, for instance. There was never slavery in Chicago. Just wasn't, right? Like, yo, there was never slavery in Chicago. Like, it wasn't a slave place. Like, there was no slaves there, right? Like, yo, like fucking, you know, Philadelphia, New York, you know, fucking Pittsburgh, like, fucking Cincinnati, Cleveland, like, all these places, no slavery whatsoever, ever, right? But, like, there was race riots. Why? Because situations were bad. Poor people are easily, you know, poor people will take part in anything that seems like, hey, we're going to overturn this system and try to take advantage of this. You know what I mean? Like, see if we can carve out a piece afterwards. It's just how it worked. You know, let's keep going now.
To figure out what to do with those sort of stop short. There's not like Baltimore and places like that, like Detroit, South Side Chicago, would just murder every year. We just accept
West Side.
Detroit's another place, by the way.
high numbers of murder. Right?
Yeah.
Is West Side Chicago? Is that where it all goes down? Or
I mean, South Side and West Side, they're just really poor areas. But it's also like, how are these guys getting guns?
Yeah, well, if you can drive around, you can get a gun.
And that's another, yeah. I just don't know.
No, wait, hang on. Let me let him finish his statement real quick, and then we're gonna get into this.
Like, you have money for guns, but you don't have money to, like, I don't know, you know, get a backpack and go to school.
Well, also,
that's a very good fucking point. Priorities are important, right? Legit. You question asked and answered. like, how are you getting guns? You know, if you have money for a fucking gun, but you don't have money for a backpack to go to school, I feel like you fucking your priorities are fucked up. And maybe, you know what I'm saying, we should have a conversation about your priorities. But okay, so let's get to this. Let's get on to this conversation about why the hood is so fucked up, because it's extremely important. And for this, we're going to use solipsism, which is, you know, like, I'm gonna stand here, I'm gonna tell you a story, right? So here's what it is. Let's say you have an 18-year-old male in this area, okay, and he just graduated out of high school, and he came out of one of the worst education systems in the world, which is the United States public education system. It is by far the worst in the fucking world. All right, legit. Especially considering the fact, like, we are one of the greatest countries on the planet, most powerful nation on earth. Our education system is dog shit. 18 years in school and you have to be trained to fucking flip burgers when you get out of that bitch. You are so fucking worthless and you have no job skills or abilities. It's ran by 97% fucking females who are all trying to make you feel better about yourself, and like fucking give you high self-esteem instead of, giving you confidence by, making you competent about things. But again, it's run by 97% females. Okay. And they're trying to, turn you into a victim and all these other things. So you come out of high school, you have no job skills. You might, be able to get a job at the sharper. But by most circumstances, your dad has been gone for a long time. This started before I was born, so this is something I inherited. And I came from these areas, just so y'all know, like, I'm not talking out the side of my neck about shit. I come from these necks of the woods. You can probably hear it in my voice that I understand these things more than most people do, right? So you come out, your mama lives in Section 8, all right? And in Section 8, if, once you turn 18, the rent goes up if you're a male. You have a male son, right? Because, males are not allowed to live inside of Section 8 and not pay. So that means you got to get up out your mama's house. So now you have to leave with no discernible job skills. You got to get a job at Sharp Shopper, or, your McDonald's or whatever place you can find. Maybe you get a job at a fucking, packing place, where you stand here and put boxes inside of skids. You might find a job at a warehouse, driving forklift, something along these type of lines. You might make 10, 12, maybe $15 an hour, top end. And you got to, get you a goddamn apartment. Well, you discover, that you don't have enough money to get by, no matter how, no matter what you do, because you're inside of an area with very little opportunities for income. So, and you don't have you're not educated to do shit. You don't have any real attainable skills. So, you need to have a car and transportation to be able to get to work. And, not having reliable transportation ends up, it makes you lose jobs. You're 18, you're figuring things out, and you're still, a young man as far as stuff's concerned. You're making mistakes, as you go along and trying to correct them. But, soon you find yourself in a position where, you got to pay rent and things is hard. You got to put food in your stomach and you ain't got no way to do so. And you end up, looking around and everybody around you selling drugs. The most, the economically prosperous people around you are drug dealers. Like, it is what it is, and it has been for a long time. If you aren't already selling drugs, you're going to begin. You know what I'm saying? You pick up, whatever you can pick up, or, you go and do what you got to do, and you start hustling and handling your business. And, in this, you end up having females come around and, females, breed what they do. You end up, knocking some broad up at 18, 19 years old. And, all of a sudden now, you have this female who probably also lives with her mama inside of Section 8. And, she doesn't, her mama's, not going to let her leave now because of the fact that she's going to get extra food stamps and cash assistance. That kid's probably going to go on Social Security disability because, they'll make up some dumb excuse to do so they can get extra money from the government, and you're going to end up being on child support. So now not only do you have, the tax man reaching his hand into your pocket, taking your paycheck, and not only do you have to continue to pay your bills, you got to pay this fucking bill of child support. Now, you need to have this money, rain, sleet, hail, snow. They don't care if you're hurt. They don't care if you're injured. They don't care if you're sick. They don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? If you can't find work, if you got laid off, they don't give a fuck. They want their money. They're say, fuck you, pay me. Oh, what, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, your car broke down? We don't care. Fuck you. Pay me, right? And you're not going in front, once you end up, in the bag about $1,500, you know what I'm saying? They'll stand here and bring you in front of a judge who legit, you know what I'm saying, you don't have any legal rights in front of, because it's not a criminal proceeding, and they'll find you in contempt of court for not being able to pay that bill, and they'll throw your ass to fucking in the fucking county jail, and you'll come out with a record, of being in contempt of court, right? And now you don't have any job opportunities, so now all you got left is drug dealing. You're in the black market. It is what it is, right? Maybe you find some under the table jobs, where you're slanging za, or making subs, or whatever the case might be. So you're out here, you're trying to hustle, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Times is getting desperate. You're going to have to make desperate moves. Individuals around you are moving on your turf. People are trying to rob you. Now you got a gun on you at all times. You know what I'm saying? You're letting off shots. You get popped, for some bullshit misdemeanor nonsense. You end up, going in for a year, coming back out. And when you come back out, you end up that your child support continued to rack up while you were inside of prison, because of the fact that that shit continues to build. It doesn't stop. As I said, it's fuck you, baby, right? And this is how this circle continues. And your child will be caught in the same bullshit system that you were. This is the problem in the hood. It is child support and child support only. 90% of all inmates with a fucking drug charge or a gun charge have a fucking child support case. Every one of the individuals who got shot by the fucking cops that you stood here, including George Floyd, all had child support cases. That was the first thing his best friend said. He said, man, we came up here, we got jobs, we started paying our child support, man. I put it on video for all of y'all to see, just so you understand. It's always, always, always been about child support. Legit, this system isn't racist, it's sexist. Get nothing misunderstood about this. They don't hate the females, they hate the men. Let's keep banging.
Well, if you see that around you all the time, the problem is you become a part of that world. If everyone's got a gun and everybody's shooting at everybody and you don't.
Yeah. No, you better get one.
You better get a fucking gun. Yeah. They're going to try to shoot at you. You got to shoot back. Like, what?
Yeah. We're all shooting. Like, yeah. You live in a war zone, bro. Go get a gun.
That's what it is. It's just like, it's not a war zone in terms of like its official designation by the government, but it's a war zone.
These are undeclared wars. Yeah. Like, no, people are shooting at each other. They're warring each other. Hatfields and McCoy it's a war. It's a civil war.
It's like warring tribes.
Yeah.
Like if we have that in fucking Siberia right now, I bet.
Yeah.
But there's Siberian gang fights.
Yeah, but that's also
it's everywhere.
That's depression, and that's another thing classism does. It's like they're telling you to kill yourself because you're just poor and you don't know what to do, and it's like, but that's not true. I mean, I'm a black guy like you guys, and I got family members who are in gangs like that, and it sucks down there. They're so depressed because what they say, and they don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, and they don't see any pathway. And they don't see anybody who's gotten out of it. So they feel like they're stuck. There's a lot of kids that grow up in bad situations. They feel inferior.
Exactly.
And they feel
just gibberish and nonsense. Fuck your feelings, nigga. There's facts. There's numbers. There's realities out here. I made too many videos just putting in facts and numbers and studies from colleges and fucking professors and graduate teachers and all these things, right? I fucking put in all these studies and I put in all this work. Legit. Go back and review my shit, right? Child support and societal destruction, like fucking just all the videos in my fucking catalog. I've done this over and over and over again, and I've fucking explained this to y'all. Like, legit. The problem is government. The problem is the government involved in your relationship and your family. The problem is the destruction of your culture and your heritage. The problem is the destruction of the father. That's what happened in our society. We destroyed the father. And that's how we got here. But look, man, I'm going to end this because I'll be honest with you, I can't see how many minutes it's been. But it's been a little bit. So I'm going to shut this bitch down right here. I feel like y'all got the fucking point. I'm Tom Peace from Pnoid News. I'm going to holla at y'all. Peace be like one, man. Enjoy y'all motherfucking night. I probably do a live stream tonight or tomorrow. We'll see what happens. All right. Peace. Later.